hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah
on Pulse 95.
An hour later.
What do you mean? Oh,
an hour later.
Let's do it now.
Right now? Okay, let's go. Rock,
paper, scissors.
Looks like we're tied.
It's Wednesday, my dudes, and I feel like I earned that.
Oh, really?
It's been a while. It's every time I hear it, there's that temptation, and I feel, because I won rock and paper scissors.
Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. So just because you want rock, paper, scissors, you feel like you should be able to do the scream thing?
No. Just a quote. I feel the scream. I over time, I do realize.
Yeah.
It's a little too much.
It is a little bit too much.
For traditional radio.
For tradition. Just for anything, to be honest. I get it.
I'll send you a voice note later.
I'm good.
Just randomly, like at 2 a.m.
I am good.
Like, why is he screaming? Oh.
I will block you. Just trust me, I will block you for like 24 hours until tomorrow and be like, okay, we're good. We're on good terms again. We're on good terms. Even though technically I never officially forgave you for like 2-3 weeks ago. You thought you could bribe me with a cookie, but that did not work out.
You're right. I am working on a diplomatic strategy.
Oh, okay.
It's just going to take some time.
Was the cookie part of it?
The cookie was the,
was an attempt?
You know what's that thing that's called the olive branch? Or the olive.
Okay.
Yeah, that's sort of like the initial stage.
But here's the thing. I told you I wanted sea salt, and he didn't have that.
I'm going to take notes. I'm going to speak with my consultants,
your associates,
my personal assistants. We're going to figure something out.
I speak to Omnia Saleh because I don't think she's aware that I'm not speaking to her, even though I do speak to her, and I did see her yesterday after work. But at the end of the day, like, our friendship has been tense.
Don't worry. I have something very special to amend for my mistake.
I'm looking forward to whatever that is. I love surprises. And as for, there's been some surprises in the world of Hollywood, starting with the Powerpuff Girls live-action pilot, which casts Donald Faison. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. Faison, I believe, right? He was in Scrubs. He was Turk, and we loved him there, but I never would have thought that I'd see him as Professor Utonium. That is a massive, massive surprise, to say the least.
Also, Venom 2, I know it's been delayed, but it's been delayed just again. Mm-hmm. But not as bad. So it's a kind of bittersweet news there. Mm-hmm. Also, we're going to be covering Spotify. I know for a while, Big Hass has been ranting about Clubhouse.
Yeah.
How big of a deal it is, the potential behind it. Mm-hmm. And it seems like there's another platform out there that wants to get a slice of that pie.
Not one, 2 platforms apparently, because they're trying to create their own adaptation of Clubhouse, and I believe that it might work out, especially in one of the social media platforms over the other one, because in one of them they usually have a lot of discussions. Now, we did speak about Spotify, but what is the other one? You can find out if you stay tuned in to the Afternoon Karak. Yes, we're trying to tempt you. We're trying to bait you guys, because as usual, we do have some interesting conversations, to say the least. Text us 4215. It's a lot or do. We'd love to hear from you, so stay tuned for that and so much more, only here on the Magic Hour, also known as the Afternoon Karak.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah
on Pulse 95.
So many surprises at Hollywood in the past couple of hours. One of them being the announcement that Donald Faison, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, I've been trying out. We're sorry for tuning in right now. We're very sorry for butchering your name. But apparently he has been cast as Professor Utonium in the CW's adaptation of the Powerpuff Girls that we still don't really understand at all. I mean, Mikhail's more open to it. I just have a ton of question marks on my head that I hope would be answered as soon as possible when this pilot comes out.
Now, I agree when it comes to anything from CW, it is quite questionable.
Very questionable.
But, the casting so far seems a tad bit promising. Mm-hmm. And with, Donald himself, Donald Faison, who a lot of people know from, who know him as Turk from Scrubs.
Yeah.
I think there is a chance the show won't be too serious because of that synopsis.
Really?
The girls are over their 20s. They resent the fact that they brought up into a childhood of being superheroes. But bringing a character like him, who's known for being in like soft comedy shows, and something like that, maybe, just maybe, he could be the thing that could carry the show, that brings the serious tone a little bit down, give it some levity. Just
it's interesting that you say
I'm still
that.
hoping. I'm holding on that little thread of hope. Aisha already cut it long ago.
I mean, do you blame me? Like you said, it's the CW. But also, I find it interesting that you're saying that, especially since that I thought that it would be Donald's way of moving towards something a lot more serious rather than him bringing comedy.
I'm not sure. That we still don't know the exact tone of this series. But, if he's been selected either for a dramatic role or something like, the sort of the comedy clown for the show, we'll have to just wait and see.
Now we also move on to another story, and that is Venom Let There Be Carnage has been moved once again, but don't worry, not too long. It's only been moved for 1 week, from the 17th of September to the 24th of September.
So you don't have to gasp too much. Like, okay.
Okay, do we gasp anymore?
No.
It's been a year now. We got used to it. Anytime there's a new delay.
We became like the delay reporters, really.
Basically, actually, there were at least like another 4 movies that have been delayed last month, and I was like, we can't spend the entire hour talking about delayed movies.
Exactly.
But I felt like this one is the most important one, especially since this gives it some space between other movies, because obviously we're still in unprecedented circumstances. There's still a pandemic, and a lot of movies cannot compete well with each other. We've seen a lot of surprises. For example, Raya and the Last Dragon has been kind of a flop at the box office. Meanwhile, Godzilla vs. Kong has been doing spectacularly in comparison, even though they were both, released across the streaming platform and also theatrical releases across the world. So I believe now a lot of studios are not they're not depending on the usual
Don't
thing.
compete with another big movie on the same day.
Exactly.
What's really great about this, I'm reading here, is that Venom 2 will come a week later after The Death of the Nile. That's great for us because we can space out our time to watch both of these movies and review them, because, we've been talking about them and we're so excited.
And also Dune, which comes out in October. So it gives
Habibi.
us a good amount of time, ample amount of time to space our reviews. That is very true. But also, I'm worried about Death on the Nile because of the whole Army Hammer controversy that's been happening.
I have no idea about this.
Oh, you need to look it up. I think we have the time.
Some Hollywood drama. Ooh, okay.
Mikhail, I'm really surprised you don't know about it. It's
Send me a
very
link.
serious. It's incredibly serious. And people are worried, could he be the reason why this movie is ruined? Because he's been actually dropped from several movies since that controversy
This
came
is sort
up.
of similar to the Mulan case again.
Oh no, it's
even worse.
It's really worse. I cannot.
Okay.
I will not talk about it right now.
Well, share me the gossip after.
Just
after
look
the
it up.
segment.
And now we move on to another interesting movie announcement, and that is Thundercats will be revived by the director of Godzilla vs. Kong, Adam Wingard. And the funny thing is, he outright says that the Thundercat movies will not have people looking like cats, which is a reference, or
We've learned our lesson.
exactly. But at the same time, how will they look like if they do not look like cats?
In an interview, actually, he says that he is hoping, instead of the live action style, he wants to go for a CGI approach.
Interesting.
Which I think could work, yeah.
So he's going for an animated movie, not a real people movie.
Yeah, maybe some motion capture here and there, but full CGI, I think that's much better.
We agree.
For example, like Scooby-Doo is a full CGI film. But yeah, I think that's the better approach. We just can't, we don't want to be grossed out. That's all.
Oh no, we that already happened. And if you guys missed out on our review of Cats from 2 years ago, that's okay. We do have our podcast up. It's been a while, but it's still up. Just search up Afternoon Karak and Cats wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's Spotify. Hint, hint, we are talking about Spotify in a bit. Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, and Rami, again, wherever you listen to podcasts. And as I just said, we're going to be talking about Spotify and their new venture. They're trying out something similar to the Clubhouse application, and so is LinkedIn. Very interesting. Lots of competition happening. Let's chat about that coming right up next, right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
Now, I'm saying this as sort of like a shameless confession. As an Android user, I just started to hear about the hype behind Clubhouse.
You mean after it died?
If anyone, the hype really came from Big House because he was on it 24/7 when it was at its peak. I'm like, okay, I can see the potential in this. It's like live audio conversations. You can bring in any sort of topics. I wanted to jump into like the whole gaming community and see what's in there. But like you said, the hype sort of died down, and it's not really easy to access Clubhouse anymore. However, there are other companies now who see that same potential, and namely Spotify and LinkedIn.
It's very interesting to see that. Now, we know that Spotify is diversifying itself. It's doing all kinds of things.
Been doing podcasts. Now they've recently done audiobooks with exclusive narrators. They're just trying to tap on everything. And, now Clubhouse clone-esque style they want to go for as well.
But I feel like it works better within LinkedIn's community because LinkedIn already has the platform where people come up, have something similar to forums. People come up and talk about various things. So having something similar to Clubhouse feels more adequate than LinkedIn rather than Spotify, because Spotify is all about this audiobooks now, the podcast, the music. If you have some sort of discussions where it feels live like a social media platform, does not make sense to me because Spotify remains an audio platform, and that is it. Not a place where I can have conversations with people. And that's what it should stick to what it is doing, basically. That's my opinion.
I know when we think of Spotify, we think music live streaming. But even the company suffers from the fact that it doesn't really make a lot of money through the music because there's a lot of royalties involved. And, they're just sort of getting pennies to the dollars on every loop and every sort of transaction. And so that's why they're trying to expand. I can see why they want to tap into sports and culture and music. But again, it might work, it might not work. It could be like that situation with Gmail where it's like, does people use Gmail, kind of thing. But with LinkedIn, I can see why it would work because this is a platform for jobs and career industries, professionals who want to do some networking. And so it could work a lot better than what Spotify is going for.
Well, according to the chief R&D officer at Spotify, he says that what they're trying to do with this acquisition, because they acquired something similar to Clubhouse called the Locker Room, and through that application, they want the singers and the creators themselves to connect with their audiences. So I'm feeling like perhaps it's maybe something similar to Instagram Live. That's the vibe I'm getting. If that's the case, maybe I will accept it.
For like rising artists, because I know whenever there's something, I'll give you an example. When a song gets popular on TikTok, that artist really tries to tell people, hey, I made that song, join on my Spotify, support me. So this would be another way of being engaged with upcoming artists, those underdogs who really need your support.
Absolutely. And again, this will make it compete now with Instagram, which is a whole new level of competition. Because usually when something happens, people go like, oh, join me on my Instagram Live. We're going to have a discussion there. And that is a normal thing. But now if it does that, perhaps it can, like I said, directly compete with Instagram because it's like a new interesting feature. And also, even TikTok, because again, the creators and whatnot, they would usually go like, oh, I'm going to go on TikTok Live, going to listen to my music. No, they can just straight away go to Spotify. And this will probably put it above Apple Podcasts somewhat because Apple Podcasts does have interviews, but there's no direct connection between the users of the platform with the creators themselves. Yes, they have the creators have their own curated albums, just like Spotify. They have their own interviews dedicated just for Apple Podcasts that is exclusive, which is cool. But again, no direct connection with the actual listeners. So it's very interesting to see. I think that if that is the case, they might be successful.
Most likely, yeah. I'd say it's one great reason to justify my purchase for Spotify Premium. So I'm not too sad about it. It's a win-win. So
it's a win-win situation for all Spotify users, and will probably tempt people to move from other music platforms towards Spotify and also diversify whatever they are doing. Now we move on to our next story, an interesting one about a mafia fugitive who accidentally did a tiny mistake that is a rookie mistake that got him caught, to say the least. We're gonna be back to talk about this guy and so much more right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Not in the news?
Not in the news. Weirdness that happened
Today.
True story.
We should call our hour today the YouTube hour, because this is 1 out of 3 YouTube stories that we're going to be covering today. And this one has to be the most, craziest one. And this shows you that the least you can do if you are a fugitive on the run is 1, turn off your geolocation, obviously. Get a burner phone, maybe. Delete your social media platforms.
Whoa, Aisha knows this.
And
she knows a lot.
do not go on YouTube to stream your cooking video.
No, just
don't do that. Just don't do that. Why would you do that? I understand
it's
the
a
urge.
rookie mistake. It happens. I think there's been dumber stories of, like, one example. I think this bank robber, he stole some money. Next thing you know, he's live streaming out on Instagram. He got caught and wonders why, But the thing about this guy is that he's been on the run since 2014. Italian prosecutors ordered his arrest for trafficking drugs for the Italian mafia syndicate. And just the thing is about the video is that his face was censored, right? Except his tattoos kind of showed on the video. And that was enough for anybody to identify him. And
But here's the thing. Did he really need to post a video of himself eating pasta with his 2 cats sitting beside him?
Pride,
is that necessary?
Pride can be our greatest demise,
Like, I get it. Like, I would definitely do something like that because I do have 2 cats and I do love pasta. So that's something I would do as somebody who is not a fugitive on the run for the past 8 years or 7 years.
All I can say is pasta la vista. You know that one quote from Godfather where it's like, just when I thought it was over, they pulled me right back.
Okay. You know what? You deserve that clap. Honestly, you deserve another clap. That was good. That was a good one. Did not see that one coming. But yeah, that was enough for the police to identify him and catch him. Again, rookie mistake for somebody who's been, you've been on the run, you've been doing so well. Okay, we do not condemn all kinds, drug trafficking and, all kinds of that aside. We're just saying you've been doing so well for 7 years and you just had to post a video of yourself eating pasta with your friends, like with your 2 cats. Was that necessary? Just
get one of those, those old Kodak cameras and you're good to go. Just something a little bit more analog, like a Nokia phone. Just keep away from cameras or the internet because, the internet will never forget and never forgive. Exactly, and apparently it is enough for it to even catch you and drag you into jail for everything you have done in the past couple of years. What's up with those rookie fugitives? I'm not sure. I'm very disappointed in them. Again, no. Again, we do not condemn this type of behavior, but still, I'm just very disappointed in all of them, every single one of them. We're going to move on to our next story, but after these sports headlines, so stay tuned. We've got more YouTube stories right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah
on Pulse 95.
We just want to say that we know that Big House is listening right now. Shout out to him. And also, you've been leaving us hanging here. You kind of told us last week, not told us, but posted last week, wasn't it? That the Lo-Fi Hip Hop Part 2 is coming. Like we said, we're used to delays, so it's just not... Are you saying that Big House always disappoints us? Is that what you're saying? It's just that if there is a delay, I can respect it, and I'm willing to wait. Okay, but I cannot wait anymore. I'm an impatient person. I've waited this long. We need some new beds for the show. We need some new beds. I know you promised us exclusive and whatnot, but it's been like a week now. Big House, where are you? Now we move on to our next story, CD Projekt Red, and a very big statement. Yes, so just a couple of days back, they just released the patch 1.2 that fixes tons of bugs and technical issues. Actually, let me just pull it up here on my laptop right here. Look at the list of fixes that they've made. Look at that.
It's still going.
They should have just...
That's insane.
It's insane. If you have to make this many bug fixes and patches...
I didn't even reach the end of the page.
They should have just waited and released the game right now. This is when it should have really been
Well,
released.
this is, I would say, to say it's a disaster is an understatement because now all the lawsuits they've been going through, the PR disaster, and all the bad stuff. CD Projekt Red has made an announcement that they're restructuring and reforming a lot of things. One thing that they did announce also is that they are acquiring a Canadian studio called Digital Scapes, which is now being rebranded as CD Projekt Vancouver. And with that, they are going to restructure and plan out how they're going to prioritize their Red engine, how they're going to prioritize agile working conditions. Because I know one thing that we talked about here, and Aisha really hates, is the crunch culture that comes into development. And this is something that they want to actually really sort of fix and reprimand.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty bad. Also, they talked about improving the promotions for future games. They promised that future marketing campaigns will be much shorter and the promotional content will be released closer to the actual release of the game. Which means
So
that,
they're
they're not going to show misleading representations of the game, what it could have looked like, so to deceive people, And that's a I think that's a really big step up to just how they're going to be dealing with future game titles, because they're also, not besides fixing Cyberpunk 2077, they're hoping that next year they're going to be working on 2 games simultaneously.
Oh, wow.
So this restructuring is definitely essential.
Especially since there were rumors, or at least reports from previous employees at CD Projekt Red that said that there was a massive gap between the first announcement in E3 and when they actually started working on it. So there was it wasn't a year or 2, it was 3, 4, 5 years. So they could have done a lot of things by the time, if it was supposed to be released in 2020, even early 2020 or late 2019, they could have hit the mark had they actually started the moment they announced the game back in E3. Wasn't back in 2012, I believe, right?
I think there was many times besides the 2020.
The first announcement.
2012, 10
Yes,
yeah.
and I believe they said that they started working, or at least they
Right
hashed
after Witcher 3,
in
which is
2016, actually,
Yeah.
which was a 4-year gap. And in 4 years, especially when it comes to game development, that is essential time. So many things can be made and created, and even the basics could have been created back then. And had they even actually realized that, or at least been a bit more humble and realistic, they could have easily again pushed the game indefinitely, so that this wouldn't have happened. Wouldn't have had all these PR disasters and the class action lawsuits. It means that a whole group of people have banded together to create a lawsuit against them. So it's not something small. It angered a lot of people, whether it's the fans, the employees, previous employees, and the current employees. It angered investors. So a lot of people have been, very upset about it. And they've been kind of radio silence, and they've been, giving us some patches here and there, but they've been kind of quiet. And it's important that they made this statement.
Yeah.
It's a bit better than that apology video on YouTube
Yes.
from the director. That one felt like it was a little too late, but this one feels a little bit more promising, and they can be held accountable because, again, they literally wrote out everything they are going to be doing. We're going to be moving on to our next story, our next YouTube story, and that's what is an important one. Apparently, YouTube is experimenting with hiding dislikes to protect creators' well-being. Very interesting. I actually like this. I can tell you exactly why I like it. Coming right up next, right here on the Magic Hour, the Afternoon Karak.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
YouTube announced that it's experimenting with hiding dislikes from creators' videos, and I'm very down for this. I agree with it, and I'll tell you exactly why.
Okay.
Now, here's the thing. Usually when I think of dislikes, and for me, I'm not talking about other people. For me, dislikes is so that the algorithm is discouraged from showing me this content ever again. For a lot of people, however, dislikes is to show that you are angry and hate this and you want to show it to the creator.
It can happen like this
Exactly.
when a group of people have a target and they want to just completely bomb an entire video.
Exactly. So this is why I completely agree that YouTube should hide dislikes from creators. I mean, you can like and dislike, again, to encourage or discourage this sort of content, similar to any other social media platform. That is a normal thing. But if you're going around to dislike just because you want to bring a creator down, then that's going to be obviously a problem and is obviously a cause why a lot of these creators, YouTube content creators who have been doing it for years and years, have decided to take long hiatus breaks because they've been just exhausted. Yes, creating content continuously is exhausting itself, but also hearing lots of negative commentary every single time you post something, especially when it becomes like a mob, it's exhausting. So why not? This is a good step, in my opinion, from YouTube.
Now, bear in mind, this is still an experiment. It's not on all videos, but maybe you have a content creator and you can notice that the like and dislike, the dislike is not featured. But I will say that I'm a bit on the traditional end. I feel like this is a feature that has been well established on the platform and should remain so, despite the bad cases that have happened across the years.
But the bad cases are a lot. That's the thing. And the thing is with the bad cases, not
still,
that they're...
feedback is feedback, you know?
I understand that. And that's the thing. That's why comments are still there, even though you can turn off comments. That is true. But the thing is with dislikes and likes, again, those cases where the dislikes are just incredibly terrible, the comparison between the likes and dislikes is stark. That's what I mean. And I believe that's what a lot of people are realizing on YouTube, that this kind of mob behavior is prevalent a lot on that platform in particular. Yes, we see it on Twitter. Yes, we see it on Instagram. Yes, we see it on different platforms. But on YouTube in particular, because you have enabled these people to not only voice their anger, it's okay, you voiced your opinion, but dislikes are a lot more anonymous in comparison to putting up a comment. People will hesitate maybe. Yes, we know that haters will still talk and they'll still post comments, but it's so much easier to click dislike on this person's videos, every single video, just to bring them down. So I feel like remove the dislikes.
I honestly agree with you, Aisha. But there's just this part of me that feels that this is just a tad bit of censorship in some way. And I will be a little bit upset if it does get removed entirely, because dislikes again is a historic feature that people use to look back on the legacy of the internet, like the most disliked videos out there, like the Justin Bieber movie video, for example. You know, it does come with bad taste, but you know, it's something to reminisce over.
But is it fair to reminisce on people's, sadness, people's failures?
No, of course not.
Exactly
of course.
why.
But maybe.
That's why I believe that.
Okay, let's spin it a different way. What if this is a conspiracy theory?
Conspiracy theory.
Okay, let's put our conspiracy hats in.
Conspiracy hats on, right?
And let's think the reason why YouTube is doing this in the first place is because on the next YouTube Rewind, they don't want to see those dislikes. Okay. They're like, oh, look how many people are showing positive feedback, you know?
Honestly, if that is this, they said they're going to remove it from the creators, so they will not see it. I mean, obviously, it means that the creator
himself will upload it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody will not see it either. But my point is, like, even remove the likes if you don't want that. I mean, keep the like and dislike for, just to make sure this sort of content does not appear on my timeline, rather than as a negative feedback.
Or better yet, as an option, the content creator, if he is willing to put himself out there and take the criticism, then have him or her have the dislike and like button.
That could work out as well. If they feel like they want to have that, just like how the remove the comment option, that could work out as well. That could be a middle ground. Text
Make it
us.
A choice.
Yes, text us, 4215. It's Salat or Do. Tell us what you feel. What do you think is this? Is this a good idea or a bad idea? We move on to our final YouTube story. It's a YouTube/Nintendo story, a very interesting one. Let's talk about that. We're turning basically into future talk today. So we've taken the spotlight from Hani Balqis and Umnia Saleh. Stay tuned for that right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
While the value of Bitcoin is still rising and scalpers are buying every GPU in the market, fortunately, if you can't get your hands on a GTX 3080, I guess you know the reason why. But if you can't get yourself one of those rare and expensive GPUs, well, there is the next best thing, a Game Boy.
I mean, even getting a Game Boy is very hard because similar to how...
Go to eBay.
Go to eBay. I am actually super interested in how this YouTuber somehow managed to refashion a Game Boy into an actual working Bitcoin mining system. God, because usually when you think about it, the reason why there's a lot of backlash against Bitcoin in general and just any sort of virtual coin is the fact that it basically is really bad for the environment, the amount of energy those GPUs need, the heat generating, etc. But you're saying you can do the same thing with a Game Boy, then that probably changes a lot of things, to be honest.
Oh yeah, this YouTuber, his name is Stack Smashing. You can find him on YouTube. He talks in detail, especially technically speaking, about how he refashioned and retrofitted the Game Boy. Just to give you a little brief, some of the things he utilized is linking the Game Boy to a computer and also controlling it with something called the Raspberry Pi. Think of this little device that it's for people who tap into those motherboards and are able to change certain functions. It's like an open source little piece of tech, and it's something that is also being utilized here to fulfill the very purpose of mining Bitcoin. Now, you're saying I can mine Bitcoin with a little Game Boy, but the issue is it's not as effective because, again, when it comes to graphic cards, you got to get the big GPUs. They're the ones that really do the job. But if you want something low budget, something on the side, if you're if you're like sort of tech savvy and you like to tinker with these things, it is possible. Again, go to YouTube, find Stack Smashing. It's roughly a 8-minute video, and he talks about it in quite some detail.
Yeah.
So if you're tech savvy and you like this kind of stuff, and you want to make a little penny, a little crumb from the Bitcoin finite resource, go for it.
But here's the thing: when you say crumb, it literally means tiny crumbs, because not only is it slow, obviously, it's incredibly slow. So maybe it's not worth it. And obviously, remember the whole, the environmental impact of mining cryptocurrency, etc., etc. Lots of things to think about before delving right into it. Now, we're going to delve into our last segment as we wrap up our YouTube hour right here on the Afternoon Karak, as we move on to Aisha and Mikhail Suggest.
It's almost 5 p.m.
That was Afternoon Karak.
For dessert,
Aisha and Mikhail suggest...
It's been a really fantastic hour here on the Afternoon Karak, and if you missed out on any of our discussions, well, don't worry, we have our show going up on YouTube later today on our channel, Pulse 95 Radio. If you love what we do here and you want to support us by subscribing to our channel. Again, Pulse 95 Radio. But if you're a podcast kind of person, well, we're on all podcast platforms such as Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Rami. Just type in Afternoon Karak and enjoy. And now to wrap up the hour, we have a very lovely suggestion.
He's saying lovely because it does involve bread. Now, this might seem controversial to some people. Some people might find it kind of preachy out of me, but hear me out, okay? So my suggestion for the hour is for you guys to go out to your local supermarket, nearest supermarket, and get some gluten-free pasta and or bread. And the reason why I say this is, guys, difference, the lightness you feel after eating any of those food is amazing. Here's the thing: as we grow older, a lot of us, start developing all kinds of unknown or even unnoticed, intestinal diseases or intestinal, I'd say, intolerances.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying you might have celiac disease. That might not be it. But it just becomes, after you have a sandwich or two, I feel heavy. You have a pizza and I feel like kind of heavy tonight. I don't feel like I can eat something else later on. Same thing with pasta dishes. But if you try out gluten-free food, I'm just saying, just try it out every once in a while.
Don't knock until you try it.
Exactly. You're going to feel fantastic. This is coming from somebody who was like, let me get gluten-free pasta. I cannot eat anything but gluten-free pasta now. Because when I actually, the difference in portions, like if I eat normal pasta, I can eat only this much. It's bad. It's very bad. But if I get gluten-free pasta, I can eat 2-3 portions. That's how light I feel.
And you try with different sauces. The possibilities are endless.
That was a good one.
I guess I'm on a roll of bread.
We cannot go on applauding you for the rest of the hour because we need to wrap it up. But promise me, guys, you'll try it out because it's really good for you. And before we leave, I need to leave you guys with some Disney music because it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has, please.
Here's some Disney music only here on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of Afternoon Karak, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.